What is up, everybody? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Barrick and I am a youth director, but I am also Asian, as you can see. And the month of May is actually Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, or AAPI or AAPI or some variation of that perhaps you've heard of. And so I am making this series to help spread awareness of this month, as well as to elevate and share some Asian voices and Asian perspectives. And most of all, I want this series to be a celebration of being Asian, of being a part of the AAPI community. But if you aren't Asian, I also want this video and this series to serve as a way for you to feel encouraged to continue to learn more about Asian history in America, as well as just in general, because I feel like as a people group, the AAPI community has been often pushed to the side. It hasn't really been seen. And this isn't to say that we are wanting to take away attention from other people that also need to be elevated as well in this time. And so as some of my friends have shared with me, and a phrase that I have also started using a lot, when it comes to minorities, we're not interested in the oppression Olympics or anything like that. But when one of us wins, we all win. And so I'm really excited to be able to share these things with you all, and I hope that it's helpful to you, whether you are a part of the AAPI community and feel more encouraged and empowered to feel more comfortable in your own skin and to be who God has created you to be, or for somebody else who is not a part of that community but wants to continue to learn more, whether it's in ways to support or whether just learn more so that we can celebrate. Because again, there's going to be some things that we address in this series that are going to be more difficult. But I don't want it to just be that. I also want it to be a celebration of the great things about the AAPI community and what it means to be Asian. And so if you know me and know part of my story, you know that this is a big step for me, because this is the first year in my life that I am actually celebrating AAPI Heritage Month. Back in February, I was actually talking to a friend of mine about Black History Month. And I brought up Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and my friend said, yeah, I don't even know when that is. And honestly, I didn't either until I looked it up, and I had done that before that conversation. And so maybe this is one of the first ways in which you are also learning that May is AAPI Heritage Month. And if so, welcome to the club, and we are so glad to be able to celebrate these things with you. And this is also the first year in my life that I am truly embracing and celebrating that, because my story, my identity formation has been a little bit of a complicated one. I'll talk more about this later on when I'm sharing my own story, but the short of it is that I'm adopted and I was raised in Iowa, and I absolutely love my family, and yet as an adult I am recognizing some of the struggles that I had being Asian in a predominantly white community. I'm seeing ways in which I suppressed that Asian identity because I didn't want to be seen as different. I didn't want to be seen as other than, whether from my friends or whether from my peers or whether from my own family. And so for years I suppressed that, and in a lot of ways I think I even developed prejudice against Asian people because I didn't want to be identified as anything like that. And so as I've continued to grow older, as I've continued to dig through my own baggage in therapy and things like that, I have now come to a place in which I fully embrace and love that Asian identity that I have as a part of what makes Matt Barrick Matt. And so it wasn't even until the year 2020 when I officially said the words, "I'm proud to be Asian," on a phone call to one of my friends. And after I said those words, I realized that that was the first time that I ever said that in my life. And so that was just last year. And so I've been learning and growing a lot, and I'm excited to be able to share part of that story with you all. But again, I just want this to be a way in which we are able to elevate other people's voices and point you in those kinds of directions. Now, myself and the handful of people that I have in other videos, we don't speak for everybody. Our experience is not everyone's experience. We are not here to be experts or to tell you everything that you need to know, because there's just so much. There's so much diversity within the AAPI community, and this is something that I've learned more recently through some conversations with some friends who are Asian and have different perspectives, because again, I'm adopted, and so I don't see myself as having that kind of insider knowledge, even though I am Asian. And so it's been really interesting for me to continue to learn about the ways in which the AAPI community is different from, let's say, the Black community. Again, there's a lot of diversity within the Black community and what that means, what that entails, and yet I still see them as overall pretty unified. But my friend showed me the ways in which the AAPI community may not be as unified. And there is so much diversity because so many Asian countries make up so much of the world and the world's population. And so with people coming to America and families becoming mixed and things like that, there's so much more diversity and so much other kinds of experiences going on. And so I just think it's really fascinating. And so we're going to talk with some people later on in some other videos who are both Black and Filipino, who are a quarter Japanese, but they grew up with their Japanese grandmother. And so there's all kinds of different experiences that people have. And so I want it to be an encouragement to others to not be afraid and to be able to embrace and celebrate those pieces of their history, of their makeup. And so again, this has been something that I am essentially just beginning in my journey of, but I am very excited to be able to share this with you. And so again, this month, I really encourage you to find ways in which you can celebrate AAPI Heritage Month. Whether it's going to some festivals safely, or trying some new cuisines, or just learning more about Asian American history. Whatever it is, I encourage you this month to find different ways in which to continue to learn more about Asian Americans. I'm excited to be able to share some conversations that I had with some of my other friends, and hopefully that will also help broaden your perspective and your understanding. Again, I am proud to be Asian, and for the first time in my life, I feel comfortable in my own skin, and I hope that this series encourages other people like me to be able to embrace their full selves.